Hello everybody. Today we are here to give a follow-up video to the chaos that ensued following my last video posted yesterday regarding calling out Echo Replay and its lead developer for all sorts of bullshittery, shenanigans, things that didn't make sense, lies, etc. And that created quite a domino effect, and I'm going to be going into what has happened since that video. So I released the video, and around 6 o'clock EST, I started sending out links into servers and to people letting, so I know some people had an interest in the video personally, so I DM'd it to some people, and other places I just put it in public chats. But as to not cause any mass issues, I avoided putting it in Echo Replay, and I avoided putting it in, certain servers that are designated positive spaces, as I didn't want to stir up drama and toxicity in those places. Around 6:15-ish, 6:20, somewhere in that zone, my video was put into the general chat of Echo Replay, and it started quite a chain of chaos, lots of spam, lots of continuing to call out what has been happening over the past week or so. So at the time, I actually wasn't even paying attention. I had sent the video out, and for the time being, I was sitting in a call with my team. We were preparing for a scrimmage. I was talking to them. I was slightly monitoring it at the start, but I wasn't around for the big explosion that was coming around 8 o'clock, because I had a scrimmage around 8:30. So I was already gone and on my headset around 7:45. But I came back to quite a lot of chaos. The first bit being that at 8:16, Fop had announced that he would be stepping down from project manager, with more information coming later, and that he has a good friend that will take over. Yeah, I think it's an okay plan. Fop was getting a lot of shit thrown at him. My fault. But it's good to step down when you're in the middle of all that heat. Fine idea. About another hour and a half passed without any clear announcement. There was a lot of spam in general chat, people going wild, calling out more stuff, as I said. But around 9:45, this message came out. Quite big. I'll read it for you. Formerly known as Echo Replay. Hello. Hopefully you were able to read the announcement by Fop. I will be the project manager for Lucid VR. Unlike Fop, I have experience running indie teams. I have led 2 semi-successful projects. I have been, you could say, watching from afar. It is important to note that I just made a new Discord account after acquiring lucidgamesvr@gmail.com. I did most of the code that you see now in-game and in leaks. Truth is, Fop was never that experienced in game development. He just wanted to help. The problem is he only gave people false hope. I create an entire game from scratch for him. I started about 1 week ago. Fop thought he could fix this with money and hiring people. It was not the right move, but he never intended to feel scammy, even though even I was skeptical. Now, Lucid VR will focus on being open and honest, showing and telling in-game progress in real time. Staff and developers will have more say in things. They will not be ignored. Fop's biggest issue was his professionalism. I have removed every invite reward or booster reward there is. Every beta test will be completely public, aside from boosters getting multiplayer to reduce server costs. Monetization is not a focus for us, and we will not monetize anything until close to launch and we have an actual good game. A few more everyone pings might be coming today. Everyone say hello to New Beginnings. Grab beta enrolls. So for those of you who aren't really that attached, I'll break down some of why certain things were said. So the first part of the message regarding Fop and his skills as a developer and his flaws, it's addressing FOP for how he acted in the position of lead developer as kind of the director of this project. It's pretty straightforward, but there are a couple issues I see immediately. One, the leading of two semi-successful projects without any backing. And we will delve more into that in a little bit, but that's just a concern I want to bring up. The point that the Discord account was created about 10 minutes before this occurred. The fact that that paragraph felt a lot more like, I am the perfect replacement. I am everything FOPA wasn't. Which we know won't be true. There's going to be flaws still. But you're just putting FOP down while trying to make yourself look big, which is just not... No, don't do that shit. On to the now Lucid VR will focus on being open and honest, showing and telling in-game progress in real time. Once again, if you haven't been attached, I don't expect you to know this, but essentially in my last video, I called out that there's a feature list in the server, which has since been deleted, go figure, that said many features that the game had already. Well, with leaked footage of the beta, it showed that they didn't really have those features. A lot of the features either straight up weren't there or were incomplete, such as grabbing things. You could grab hold, but you could not let go. The game would not let you let go until you quit out and restart, and they claim to have a grabbing system in place there, but it's pretty clear that it's not what it was supposed to be. Following the release of my video, almost immediately, one of the developers left. And the main reasons being that, one, there's a lot of suspicious activity going on around this, and they just didn't feel comfortable being associated anymore. And two, the developers were not having much of a say in anything that was going down with the development of the game. So that was an issue that went public. So now they're claiming the devs will have more say in what's happening, and there will be more honesty regarding that. And number 4. The punch at FOP's professionalism, and then the removal of the monetization and the rewards for boosting / inviting. With an exception to boosting for multiplayer, which I think is a fine thing because, you know, it makes sense to limit the people who are getting access to the servers that cost money. That's fine. But I find it weird because, you know, this is going to sound very fucking nitpicky, but this started off with saying the only problem with FOP was giving false hope, and then you jump to FOP's biggest issue was professionalism, which just doesn't add up, man. He either has one problem or he has multiple problems. I believe that there are more issues than just professionalism and giving false hope. There was clearly more issues that I called out in my previous video, like lying about how far you were into development, lying about your features, and apparently even lying about making the build yourself. Because apparently it was made by Lucid. They could have had a little help, but he claims himself that he did most of the code for what we see in the leaks and in the in-game footage. People were curious about the games that Lucid had done in the past. So, SM Simo, my favorite developer, asked, like, what are these successful projects? And leaked DM came out between ISO and Lucid. You can read through this as I speak it, but I just don't want to read all this text. But basically, ISO was encouraging Lucid to share what games they had worked on in the past, because people aren't going to just trust you blindly when you say that, especially regarding the past of Echo Replay. And that's a logical fact. A lot of people have been skeptical about it, and Lucid claims this. Me and my team had a little falling out. They have been trying to dox me. I might make an announcement about it. So the the reason we will not be hearing of these two semi-successful projects that Lucid has led is that his previous team had a fallout with him, and now they are trying to dox him. One, this could be a really shitty excuse to escape having to actually say what games these are, either because they didn't exist, or because they weren't really that successful, or whatever else. And I don't mean to be like, okay, Lucid, there's no way in hell you're getting doxxed by people, because it's out there. People are out there, and people are out there to harm others. And you know what? You might actually be under threat of a doxing. Okay. Do we feel very secure in having someone whose previous team is so angry at them that the previous team is trying to dox them? And that leads to two more paths. Either one, Lucid in the past did something so horrible that pissed off so many people that revealing where they worked previously would immediately shoot down their rep here and make them look horrible. All right. And the other option, they are so bad at picking people they work with that just somehow their entire previous team was full of individuals so toxic that there's something meaningless that they all want to dox Lucid over. These are horrible options, everybody. This is not something that screams, I'm trustworthy. Guys, I can't tell you because if I tell you, my previous team members are going to dox me to you. That's not a good look on you. You made yourself look worse. Also, as you can see here, as Faram puts out, semi-successful games. We have no idea what that means. We don't know if that means, I reached 50 players. I earned money off of this game. We had 500 average concurrent players on at a time. There's no definition as to what semi-successful means, because successful is different on everyone's scale. So if you're only semiing that, what the fuck does that mean? It was said in the announcement, but I wanted to double check that this build that had been leaked was indeed Lucid's work. So I asked this. In your announcement, you stated that you had made the build from scratch and started approximately 1 week ago. This concerns me for a few reasons. It causes more lies regarding the timeline of the work of this project, because as you can see in previous things, like the features list, it was dated back to the 8th of February, which is now 15 days ago. 2 weeks ago, these features were claimed. This guy only started a week ago, which causes 8 days. It causes 8 days of separation between when these features were claimed to be in the game and when this build was even made. And then on top of that, the features were still not functional. They still weren't there. So you lied about the features being in your game to begin with because there was no game. And then later on, the features still aren't working 2 weeks after you claimed you had them. If it is Lucid's build, then this gives me very little confidence for the stability of your work, as this work is not the quality of someone who has led 2 semi-successful projects. It isn't. It was a very fragile, very buggy, very broken beta that, I would think at least within a week, if you had led projects like this before and had that much experience, you would have ideas of how to get these mechanics down. I mean, in VR, it's essential that every single game has some form of grabbing and letting go mechanic. And you don't have that. And my third point, you stated you had been watching from afar, but then switched to working on this project, which is it more issues with trust and telling a clear truth. Because it wasn't clear, because he said he has been watching from afar and then he became involved and he was never mentioned to be involved. like, it isn't until now, when everything is falling apart, that this guy had built it a week ago. Which just, once again, transparency, trust, not telling us what is actually happening with this game. And this is his response. I appreciate the you coming to me. I like how you called out FOP and Echo Replay in a YouTube video. Lots to learn from it. There isn't much to learn. I called out all the bullshit I was seeing. I didn't offer solutions. I didn't give you lessons. I called out bullshit. And I'm going to keep calling it out. Let's go. Number 1, in response to my more lies regarding the timeline. 1, we will not promise anything in general, nonetheless timelines. The community should see builds every day, no room to lie about a timeline. Okay, I guess that is just meant to give me confidence moving forward, but it doesn't change the fact that you were hiding behind the veil for this previous work. Doesn't change the point that FOP was still lying, but okay, whatever. 2, games just aren't made in a week. I tried to put out the most features possible as a proof of concept. It is possible to make this progress in a short amount of time. As I just mentioned, things like grabbing and letting go in, one movement are essential for VR games. It's kind of like VR games are meant to be reality. And in reality, you grab stuff and you let stuff go. You grab and you let go. You grab and you let go. It's normal. It's not like I'm just like, oopsie, I can't let go. Our hands are hands. It's essential. And also, I tried to put out the most features possible as a proof of concept. There's barely any features. My body's too fucking fat to grab the disc. I can't grab anything else. There's barely any features. That's not an excuse. And 3, I watched from afar until the approximate 1 week ago. I guess you cleared it up, but once again, that just puts into reality that there wasn't transparency. And I point out that puts all my concerns into reality, as the beta is still hardly functional. I said, but here's to hoping we proceed in a better manner, because I'll give Lucid the benefit of the doubt and say they do want to proceed in a better manner. They do want to be more transparent. They want to be more honest, and they want to make sure this project actually happens. So that was my here's to hoping. Here's to hoping it works out. Something else that was pointed out is in this initial announcement, Lucid points out that FOP's biggest issue was his professionalism. Mainly so speaking, that FOP was being unprofessional in the ways he was acting. It was not the way a professional dev or project manager would have acted, unless I'm misreading that, in which case you can correct me. Fiend pointed out that the announcement felt as if they were just shitting on FOP, which is incredibly unprofessional, and just overall, that's not a good thing. And FOP responded saying, no, it's fine, I'm still here. And I was around, luckily, for this point, and pointed out that Fiend was trying to point out that as a user who is not only leading this project, is also identifying as this project. This isn't a person being like, I lead Lucid VR. This is Lucid VR, stating that FOP was not experienced, was unprofessional, was not doing things as he should have. And that's not a professional way to handle things. What kind of confidence does that give your current devs if they know that, if they kind of screw up and fumble and show that they aren't experienced as you want them to be, that you might just call them out and be like, yeah, this guy's not really that experienced. That's why we're letting them go. They just weren't ready for our kind of project. No, I would think you should be. No wonder it's easy to become a dev for this game. Look at it. No one's not experienced enough. And Fiend responded saying that I was spot on. Feels like going, oh, this guy was so bad and I built everything. That isn't the way to go, and even the builds themselves aren't exactly God's gifts, are they? Which I love. And then Fiend asked what about all the other devs who had worked on the project, and that's when I pointed back out that, in fact, the devs didn't have much say in anything that was going on with the project, so that's kind of gone. But now, if you're going to have more devs working on your project, you probably shouldn't be making a mark of being willing to call them out as inexperienced and unprofessional. Just my opinion. But with this whole debacle going down, I I kind of just sat monitoring for a bit. I really didn't even talk until around midnight last night, like 4 hours past the bulk of what had happened. Because I didn't want to stir issues, knowing that it was my video that was in there. Chances are if I started speaking, I would start getting flamed. And there are a few mods that were quite pissy at me. And I'm looking at you. I know you can see this video. I know you're pissy at me, and it's reasonably so, and it's okay to be pissed at me. But I'm gonna keep calling out bullshit. Later on in the night, I can't remember who it was exactly. Allow me just a moment. It was Cutie Cat Girl. Earlier in the night, when Lucid was reformatting the server for this open beta, blah, 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 there was a Quest beta and Rift beta section that opened. Files hadn't been put in there yet. So someone asked, and Lucid said it should be done within the hour. And I think that was 8:30 to 9, so I was expecting the file to get out like 9:30, 10-ish, just sometime within the night. It didn't end up happening for quite a while, so I ended up responding to the message, and I was just like, hey, any update on this? Lucid didn't respond directly, but one of the mods, Cutie Cat Girl, responded and said that she had the file and was going to upload it, so she uploaded it. And, you know, this, at least confirmed by the mod, I believe they said they assume, it was the most recent file for Quest, which, yay, I got to play. So I do have footage of the most recent beta, unless they've updated it past like midnight last night, which, you know, if they're updating every day, as Lucid claimed, maybe it's already updated and I don't have anything to complain about in this, but we shall see. But I will be showing you that video now, and I'll explain what's happening alongside it. That way, you know, you can know what's happening. Turn that on the audio. So as you can tell, everything's a little different. I'm grabbing. I'm actively grabbing here. I'm not stuck. But look at what I'm doing. I am whipping my arm. I'm going like that. It doesn't like grab properly. You can't grab and push. Yeah, also, if you you might notice the boosters are quite crazy fast. Hitbox is still way too big to grab the disc. You'll see me here. Just keep trying. You see me. I'm confused. You might ask, Comms, why the fuck are you confused? You're just boosting backwards. I'm not boosting backwards, though. That's the crazy thing. I don't know what's causing it, but you can't grab the disc. Your body's too big. So I tried pinning it in the corner so I could, you know, kind of squeeze it into my hands. It can't escape. It's pressed against the wall. I can just grab it and pull it into my hitbox. Fine idea, right? No. You get bounced away when you collide with the disc, which you're going to continuously see me do. Disc bounces away. You might be confused why I'm not turning. It's because there's not smooth turning in here, and I was sitting on my chair, so I was just kind of like, nyeh. But you're going to keep seeing me, like, go after the disc. I was trying to see what this button does. I think it's access to the multiplayer, but I think because this is the open beta, I don't have access to the multiplayer, so meh. Look. I barely bump into the disc. I bounce away. I bump into the disc. I bounce away. I get flung. I'll give it to you that you at least have, it flings you aggressively sometimes. You at least have the ability to go and grab things and let go, but it's very weird, and I don't know why, because, you know, using my phone here again as an example, I can grab things, and if I wasn't grabbing it, you know, I can take it, yeah, push away, pull into it. If I'm grabbing things, I can move at a maximum speed of like this. So, you know, I'm pushing away. I want to come towards the phone. Guys, I'll give it to you. It's an improvement, but it's not much better. The boosters need to slow down, lower the hitbox of the body. Why am I getting slingshotted by the disc? Fix whatever the hell is slowing down, pushing, and pulling. The game still exists, but with these issues, it is still not playable. I can't even score a goal because I can't grab the disc. There's nothing to play. I don't want to play Headbutt Simulator except with a bubble butt. Anyways, beside that point, there's a handful of random theories and stuff going on, such as Lucid is really just an alt account of FOP and is basically just flipping the script, being like, you can't hate me. I'm not FOP. I'm everything FOP wasn't, which is kind of why I'm also following that theory, because Lucid is a little too much everything FOP wasn't. And also there isn't much proof behind Lucid being anyone else. I mean, Lucid literally came out of the void the moment that FOP stepped down. So, ain't that interesting? But yeah, that's about it, really. That's all that's truly happened since last night. I got to play in the supposed most recent beta. That's the existence of Lucid coming in, and the whole rebranding, and blah, 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 blah. Also, I want to put out there that, once again, I have nothing against replay succeeding. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I got an itch in my nose. There's nothing wrong with replay, now Lucid VR, succeeding. However, there is an issue with going about it in the complete wrong way. And if you continue to go about it in the wrong way, guess what? Word's going to get out. It's going to get publicized. You got a big bad bully who's willing to call you out on your bad mistakes. Oh no, I'll do it with everyone. I've pointed out flaws in Hex. I've pointed out flaws in Reverb. I'm gonna point out flaws in you. You don't get a special treatment just because you're in early development. Everyone's in early development. Shut up. You'll just have to learn to sit back, learn how to do things like good people. Don't try and take advantage of an aching community. Don't try and make money off of us. Don't try and pull quick ones. Don't do dumb shit. If you do dumb shit, you get called out. Cry about it.